Okay, so today we are still solving systems of equations. The difference is we have word problems. So when you solve these, a couple requirements. You have to define your variables. I don't want to just see an equation with x and y in it. I need to know what x and y are. So make sure you're defining your variables. Second thing, you have to answer with a sentence. My rule is if I give you a problem in words, you answer in words. So even if you do nothing else right, those are 2 points right there. If you define your variables, you get a point. If you answer with a sentence, you get a point. Okay? Let's look at this problem. Find two numbers whose sum is 10 and whose squares differ by 20. Okay, so my variables, what am I trying to find? Two numbers. So I'm just going to say x is the first number and y is the second number. There's a point. I define my variables. Now we have to try to write equations for this. So if I look, it tells me whose sum is 10. What does sum mean? So x plus y equals 10. What if I had said the sum of their squares was 10? What would you do? X squared plus y squared equals 10. Okay. And whose squares differ by 20. What am I talking about when I say they differ? Subtraction. They're squares, so that would be x squared minus y squared equals 20. Right, now these are problems like yesterday. Can I do elimination on this? Not on this one because there are no squared, so we have to do substitution. So let's solve. If I solve for my y, that would be a 10 minus x. So then we substitute that into the second one. So we have x squared minus the 10 minus x squared equals 20. How do I do 10 minus x squared? Well, it means there's two of them. So that's 100 minus 10x and minus 10x is minus 20x. Negative x times negative x is positive x squared. Okay, if I distribute my negative, what happens? X squareds cancel. And add over my 100. So I have 20x equals 120. Divide by 20. And x is 6. Now I need my first number, so I know y is 10 minus x. So 10 minus 6 is 4. Then how do I want you to answer it? Words. The numbers are 6 and 4. Questions on that one? In general, the solving of these systems is probably going to be a little bit nicer than the ones from yesterday. I'm not going to give you anything too complicated. You just have to be able to read the problem and write your equations to go with it. Alright. Let's do another one then. In a recent survey, the average number of texts sent by two age groups, 18 to 24-year-olds and those 55 or over, was 2,172. However, the number of texts sent by the 18 to 24-year-olds exceeded the number sent by those 55 or over by 3,362. Determine how many texts were sent by each group. So what am I trying to find? number sent by the 18 to 24-year-olds, and Y is the number sent by the 55 and over. Okay. Then I talk about the average. One of your homework questions does this too. How do you find the average of something? If I want to average two numbers. Good. So the average number, so we would have to do x plus y divided by 2 was 2,172. That's the first equation. Okay, which group sent more? Okay, so x equals, they sent 3,362 more than the other groups. So x would have to be y plus 3,362. So I have my two equations. Would you want to do substitution or elimination here? Substitution. I would just take the second equation, plug it into the first. So that means y is 3,362 plus y divided by 2. If you want to get rid of your fraction, what are you going to do? Okay. And then we do have some like terms that we can combine as well. So we would have 2y plus 3,362 equals 4,342. Yes, it would. Thank you. Okay, now what? And divide by 2. So y is 491. So then we can plug that in to find our x. X is y, 491, plus 3362. So answer in a sentence. The 18 to 24-year-olds sent 3,853 texts, and those 55 or older sent 491. Any questions there? Okay, let's just try a couple more. A box with an open top has a square base and 4 sides of equal height. What should I do? Sure. Okay, so we've got a box, doesn't have a lid on it. I am not an artist by any means, but the So that means on the bottom, these two sides, if it's a square, the sides are equal. So those would be the same. So I could call both of those x. Do we know anything about the height? No, so that's our y. Now when I say define the variables, if you draw a picture and you label it like this, that counts. So you don't have to go say x is the length of the base and y is the height. If you label it in a picture, there's your point. You defined your variables. Then it says the volume. How do you find volume? So length times width times height. So x times y would be x squared y. Is means equals 54. And the height was y, is means equals double the length of the base. What would that be? Not times 2 times x. So if I had said triple, it would be 3x. Double is 2x. Alright, substitution or elimination? Substitution. We can plug the second one into the first very easily. So we have x squared times 2x equals 54. So if we divide our 2, x cubed equals 27. How do we get rid of a cube? Cubed root. We don't need a plus or minus. If you did, let's say we'd added a square root and we had a plus or minus, could x be a negative here? No, because it's the length of a base. So even if you had gotten a negative number, you wouldn't include that in your answer because it's not possible here. We get x equals 3. Then our y is 2 times x, so 2 times 3 equals 6. So the question was the dimensions of the box. So the box has a base, we were in inches, 3 inches long, and a height of 6 inches. Any questions on that one? The last example I want to do is actually a problem that we did earlier in the year. Remember, we used to do these word problems where like we'd have interest and we were putting some at this percent, some at this percent. We'd make a table to organize all of our information. These can also be solved with systems of equations. So we've done it one way. I'm just showing you another option for solving this problem now. So a student invests a total of $5,000 at 3% and 4% annually. After 1 year, the student receives a total of $1,087.50 in interest. How much did the student invest at each rate? So we are trying to find how much at each rate. So x would be the amount at 3%, and y would be the amount at 4%. Okay, we have a total of $5,000, so what would I put? And then I give you interest. So to find the amount of interest, you take your rate times your amount. So 3%, that would be 0.03. The amount at 3% is my x. Plus the interest for the other one would be 0.04 times our y equals the total amount of interest, which was okay. Do you want to do substitution or elimination? Really doesn't matter a bit. We did a substitution on the others. Let's try elimination this time. What would I take the first one times if I wanted to eliminate my x? Negative 0.03. Okay, so my x's cancel. $37.50 divided by 0.01. So y is 3,750. So then you need x. If I subtract that over, you get 1,250. So the student invests $1,250 at 3% and $3,750 at 4%. You guys have any questions? So the assignment, there's a handout posted on Classroom. If you have your notes in front of you, they are very similar to your notes problems. So you've got over 20 minutes right now to work on that and ask questions if you need to.